Cowboy's horse had been missing for 3 days, and in a land where distances swallowed, men whole in silence, could kill faster than a bullet. 3 days felt like a lifetime carved out of worry and dust. Eli Carter rose before dawn on the 4th morning, the same way he had every morning since the horse vanished, with the ache of regret pressing harder than the cold. That black horse, Diablo, wasn't just muscle and bone. He was memory, survival, and the last living thing Eli trusted without reservation. Diablo had carried him through ambushes, droughts, and the kind of loneliness that only men of the frontier understood. When the horse disappeared during a sudden night storm, Eli told himself it was bad luck, just another toll the frontier demanded. Still, as he scanned the horizon with tired eyes, something in his chest twisted with the certainty that fate wasn't finished with him yet. The prairie stretched endlessly, golden gray under a pale sky, when a dark shape appeared against the rising sun. At first, Eli thought it was a trick of light, a mirage born from exhaustion, but then the shape moved, slow and deliberate, and his breath caught. Diablo was coming home. The horse walked with a strange stiffness, head lowered, muscles trembling as if every step demanded more strength than he had left. Eli ran forward, heart pounding, relief surging through him, until he saw what lay draped across the saddle. A woman, barely conscious, blood darkening the fabric of her clothing, her body limp against Diablo's powerful back. She was Apache, her features unmistakable, her skin pale beneath dust and dried blood. Eli froze, the past slamming into him like a gunshot. The Apache were enemies to most men in these lands, painted as shadows and savages in saloons and campfire tales. But the woman before him wasn't a legend. She was real, broken and alive. Diablo stopped before Eli and let out a low, exhausted breath, as if delivering a burden he had sworn to protect. Eli reached out instinctively, steadying the woman so she wouldn't fall, and felt the warmth of her blood on his hands. His mind raced, fear of retaliation, memories of violence, warnings he had heard all his life, but none of it outweighed the simple truth that a human being was dying in front of him. He carried her into his small cabin, laid her on the only bed he owned, and worked with shaking hands to clean her wounds. A deep gash marred her side, likely from a blade or debris during the storm, and bruises mapped her arms like silent stories of struggle. As the hours passed, Eli watched over her, caught between guilt and purpose. Why had Diablo returned with her? Horses didn't make choices like that, yet Diablo had crossed miles of unforgiving land to bring her here. As night fell, the woman stirred, her lips moving with words Eli didn't understand, her voice weak but fierce. When her dark eyes finally opened, they locked onto his with a mix of fear and defiance that cut deeper than any knife. In that moment, Eli knew his life had shifted, that the frontier had handed him a test no gun could solve. If you feel the pull of stories where destiny collides with humanity, where enemies become mirrors of our own survival, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because this journey has only just begun. When the Apache woman regained full consciousness, the air between her and Eli felt charged, like the pause before a storm breaks. She struggled to sit up despite her injuries, pride refusing to let weakness show, and Eli raised his hand slowly, speaking softly, careful not to startle her. Trust he knew was more fragile than glass out here. She introduced herself as Ayana, her voice steady though pain flickered behind every word, and told him fragments of her story between long silences. She had been separated from her people during a violent skirmish near the canyon, wounded while helping a child escape, and left behind when chaos scattered the rest. Diablo, she said, had found her near death, standing over her like a sentry through the night. Eli listened, each word unraveling years of hatred he'd been taught to carry. As days passed, he tended her wounds, and in the quiet rhythms of care, changing bandages, sharing water, feeding her small portions of food, something unfamiliar grew. Ayana spoke of her people not as raiders, but as families bound to the land, protectors of stories older than the maps Eli trusted. She spoke of loss with a strength that humbled him, of brothers and sisters who rode the same winds he did, only under different prayers. Meanwhile, danger crept closer. Eli noticed distant smoke signals, heard rumors carried by traders about Apache scouts searching for a missing woman. Fear returned, heavy and practical. If her people found her here, they might see Eli as her captor. If soldiers came instead, they would see her as an enemy. The cabin became a fragile sanctuary, balanced between two worlds ready to burn it down. One night, Ayana stood outside beneath the stars, leaning against Diablo, and told Eli that the horse had chosen him because he still listened. To the land, to silence, to life. She said some spirits recognized kindness even when men forgot it. When Apache riders finally appeared on the horizon, Eli faced them unarmed, heart-pounding but resolute. Ayana stepped forward, speaking for him, telling her people how he had saved her, without demanding anything in return. The tension stretched until it snapped, not into violence but understanding. The riders took Ayana home, offering Eli a nod of respect that meant more than gold. As they disappeared into the prairie, Eli felt the ache of loss again, but this time, it was clean, earned, and human. Diablo stood beside him, calm as if his task was complete. Eli returned to his quiet life, changed forever, knowing the frontier wasn't just a battlefield. It was a place where choices echoed longer than gunfire. And if this story stirred something in you, hope, curiosity, or the belief that compassion still matters, make sure to subscribe to the channel. More powerful stories like this await, and every subscription helps keep these untold journeys alive.